If you find yourself refreshing your bank account every few minutes, going into Instagram and seeing if somebody's liked or commented, or waiting for people to reply to your newsletters, or desperately seeing if that client has followed up, you are likely stuck in scarcity. And so in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about why your scarcity mindset is costing you clients and how to fix it today. Welcome to another episode of the Best Damn Coach podcast. It is Amanda here. Welcome to today's show. We are going deep into a topic inspired by my BDC community. Shout out to all the ladies of the BDC who are listening right now. I recorded this episode for you, inspired by you, and for all of you that are listeners. And we are diving into a struggle topic, which is being in the energy of scarcity. And so today I'm going to be talking about why your scarcity mindset is costing you clients and, of course, how to fix it. I am going to help shift your, I hope, energy and focus to do the things that are necessary to stop living in scarcity daily and to start feeling, living, understanding this place of abundance, which might feel very abstract for you because I think these terms are slung around so often. But I actually want to go super tangible. I want to share some stories about my coaching experience and to share some of the things that I've seen inside of the BDC specifically because it's such a vulnerable and intimate space of female coaches that are growing their coaching businesses. And so I think this episode is definitely going to speak to you because something that is counterintuitive is this. What if I told you that actually the tighter your grip and need for clients, the more they slip through your fingers? So we're going to talk about this paradox that exists that's keeping you maybe from getting clients, etc. So I think scarcity can be applied to a lot of places. It can be applied to your relationships. It can be applied to resources other than money. But today we're going to focus exclusively on this kind of scarcity mindset that feeds into business, which isn't always money, but a lot of where I see it, it is absolutely coming from money. I want to be really clear though. Everything that I say in this episode, I've needed. I have been deep in the depths of scarcity, borderline, like, to be honest, struggling to get myself out of bed, struggling with not crying all day long because of the feelings of scarcity. So when I share today, I'm sharing from a place of I've been there, I've done that, and this is what I did to get out of it. And for me, this wasn't necessarily the feelings of scarcity in the beginning around money. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know what it was like to make a lot of money. So for me, I didn't actually feel scarcity till probably around the 3 to 4 year ago mark. This was at a time in my business where I had made kind of the big, bold decision to shut down the Feel Amazing Naked brand, which is the coaching business and brand that I owned before now. It's always been Amanda, but that's when I was doing health and nutrition and kind of life coaching. And I had started coaching female coaches, growing their businesses, working on frameworks, all the things that I teach now. But I was doing both. And to be frank, my roster was really full. I was burnt out. I wasn't able to go in the depths. It wasn't the business model that I knew I could necessarily sustain. And so I decided I got to go deep and not wide. And we decided to shut down that side of business. And truthfully, I thought it would be no problem. I thought I'd be like, yeah, of course. These people are buying over here. But what was missing was I didn't have the top of my ecosystem fluently built out to support that side of the business. And my income took a nosedive. And that was coming from being the breadwinner to literally crying to Justin, I don't know if I can contribute this month financially, enough. I'm devastated. So there were days where I was crying all day. But one of the greatest triggers for me was I would log into my dashboard, which was in our old CRM system, an email marketing system, and it showed me my monthly projection, what was coming in. And I just remember every time I saw that freaking thing, it was my chest would get tight. I would get sick to my stomach. It's hard to energetically, I would just be so devastated. And it was those feelings of scarcity. So if you find yourself refreshing your Stripe account or your PayPal or whatever system you use, every 5 minutes to see, which I was doing, if you find that you're pricing your services for desperation, you're trying to slash them, and you're wondering, man, should I just do this thing? Then today's episode is for you. And I'm going to tell you what I did to get out of that place, to not only build the business that I am so obsessed with right now, but to grow my revenue and pull it back to more than where it was in a completely different way. So if you felt that your energy shifts when you start to talk about your pricing, you've caught yourself maybe obsessively checking the bank account like me, or you feel that tightness when your business starts to slow down, then I'm just so excited that you're here. So let's get specific about how scarcity shows up for you as a coach. And I've pulled out like 3 areas that I think scarcity can be pretty consistent. One is in sales conversations. And here's some examples of that. You may not know that these are feelings of scarcity, but when your voice changes, when you mention price, you start to like soften, you start to backpedal. Or if you find yourself on a sales conversation, like trying to over-explain the value or justifying the cost, then this is a root cause of scarcity. Or if you're all like some of my clients that they're like, I was on a sales call and all of a sudden I was going to tell them 1,000 and I slashed it in half. All of a sudden, I mean, I don't even know why I did that. So you're offering discounts before they're even asked. Or just in general, you have this desperate and needy energy before a sales call, which sounds like before you get on, like, I need this client, I need them to say yes. Like, I know I can check every single box that I just shared with you that I have experienced that 100% in my life. The other area that scarcity shows up is in the daily operations, the day in and day out stuff. So that could mean you are checking your bank account or your money dashboard obsessively, like hoping it changes. Or if you're making decisions each day, you're making them out of fear, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have clients? What if versus actual strategy or power? Or if you're saying yes to totally non-ideal clients because you're like, I got to make a buck, right? And the problem is like that it doesn't feel like a short-term problem, but in the long run, it absolutely is. Or in general, you're undercharging because you feel guilty or over delivering out of guilt too. And those are all signs of scarcity. The last place that I believe scarcity shows up is in your marketing. And this can be super felt. Your content feels super pushy and gross. And it's so funny that I see this because I've had a few kind of quote unquote sales coaches or people that would call themselves messaging coaches that I've collaborated with. And I can tell from their content, it's super pushy. And what's underneath it is scarcity, even though they don't know that it's coming through. Another way is if your marketing feels like is being created from, I need clients, I have to have them, versus like, how do I serve and support people? Or you find yourself comparing, like falling into that comparison trap, or just this total paralysis of like, oh crap, what if nobody buys? And all of these things lead to that deeper level of scarcity that exists. But here's the thing. Those things may not feel like a huge deal on the surface, but there is a hidden cost for scarcity. And here's the thing that kind of blows my mind, that was hard for me to wrap my head around, is that scarcity energy actually repels the very clients you're trying to attract. It's like trying to like put cologne on and it's desperate, and people can smell that from a long distance away. And so can we talk a little bit just about like the body, because the body is an important part of this, because really what I think about is it's like your nervous system is responding. The body's keeping the score. And if you actually haven't read that book, it's an amazing book called Body Keeps the Score. But there's neuroscience behind this, because when we operate from that place of scarcity, like our needs aren't being met, which feels very real to us when we're not bringing in the revenue necessary to like pay the bills and do the things we want, our amygdala fires up. It's like, oh gosh. And when that does, it puts us into fight, flight, or freeze mode. And guess what? Clients can sense that energy, and it doesn't feel safe to invest with someone operating from that scarcity space. Or it can create for you this very emotional roller coaster experience. For me, my response is to fight. And I mean like doing all the strategy, go, 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 go hard to like your burnout. But many of you might go take a nap or go do the housework. Or some of you just might be paralysis and lay there with a broken stare. And I just want you to know you're totally not alone in this, but there is a way to hold that scarcity in your hand, that fear, that hesitation of your needs not being met, and also have hope and potential and feelings of abundance. But I'm going to be honest, it's going to take practice and it's going to take intention. And the key is not pretending you don't need clients, because you absolutely do and you want them. It's actually to shift your focus. And here's what changed everything for me. I was like, I hate this feeling. It's like my brain just wanted to keep going down to the not haves, the not clients, the money not being what it was. And so I said, I got to shift this. Like, this does not feel good. This wallowing. Talk to Justin. He would be like, okay, like, we got to do something else. And so I had to shift this energy from getting, neediness. And here's what I did. I turned it into giving and service. So the old me and the old model, or maybe potentially the model you're experiencing right now, is like, I need clients. It's desperate. It's grabby. It's convincing, proving your worth. And the result is clients feel pressure. The new model, though, and I want you to write down, is like, how do I help? How do I serve? The energy is contagious. It's generous. It's confident. It's serving. You're adding value to their life. And now clients feel supported, which actually means they're more likely to come into your world. You may not realize the energy of desperation and neediness when you create is actually felt. It's in the language that you use. So when I made this shift, it was like it wasn't even a catalyst. It was like a catapult to get out of that. And for me, it shifted my energy. It gave me confidence. It gave me something to focus on. It allowed me to serve. Then that service led to people being of interest. Transformation happened. And then like begets like. And I want to share that this episode was inspired again by many of my BDCers, but one in particular, when she listened, she'll know who she is she shared recently on a call, like, Amanda, my car broke down. I think I need a brand new one, but like my revenue isn't coming in. And how, like, I'm in total paralysis. Like, I just am like, there's no way. And she was definitely resistant because the path is very deep. When you've been looking at the knots, when you've been chasing the negativity unconsciously, then it is hard to rewire. And so what I'm going to share with you are 3 tools that absolutely helped me shift to move from the revenue I was making to basically 5xing that. And these tools are tools, by the way, that aren't one and done. And that's where I think many of you might take this episode out of context and think, oh, I feel scarcity, I'm just going to do this one time. No, like, the neurological pathways you've been wearing have been built, honestly, since childhood. If you heard your parents fight about money, if you felt like you were in survival mode, I just don't want to glaze over that there's a lot of undoing. But you can stay trapped in the past, or you can say, hey, I'm ready for it, like a new version of me, the version that's going to build this amazing empire, or maybe this business that just pays the mortgage, whatever you want, is not going to do it trapped in scarcity. You are going to stay in the same place if you don't work to implement the tools consistently. And there might be seasons where you need the tools more heavily and tools that you need more lightness. Okay. So number 1, I'm going to call this not a morning routine, but like a morning anchoring practice. So this is one of my go-tos when that scarcity creeps in, and it still will, and it still does. And I think for me, it rewires this nervous system response around scarcity in like less than 5 minutes. And so the first thing I'm going to say is, like, I want you to sit, and I'm going to use the word bask in gratitude. And this isn't like a open up your 5-minute journal and put 3 things you're grateful for. I don't think that's effective. It's not deep enough for me personally. So for me, what I did is I kept a list smaller and I go deeper. So here's what I want you to add. Like, I am grateful for this thing, but also then because. Not just I'm grateful for my cup of coffee, but why specifically? I'm grateful for this, backyard that's full of green grass. I'm grateful for my coffee with my friend yesterday, but why? The reason that I think this is so key is right now, this very tiny bucket of your life, your business, is taking up so much energy. But open up the peripheral. You have so many other amazing things happening in your life. But for me specifically, this thing was taking up so much energy. And here I have these amazing kids doing amazing things, and an amazing husband that's there to support me, and friends and parents and cool things we do with, sports. It's like, this is so crazy. Like, I've got to see all the things that are happening around me. This is just a small fragment. So this became so powerful for me to go, wow, the things I really want are already happening. This is just going to make it sweeter. And in that same context, then I started to really do some thought work around some of those pervasive, intrusive thoughts that were coming in. And for me, it was like, my revenue is so low. For you, it might be, I don't have clients. For you, it might be like, money is so tight or no one's buying. So I had to reframe those. Right. And for me, I was what I would say like at a revenue place where I was kind of like, well, I'm here now. If I'm going to build this thing back up, I'm going to do it exactly as I want. So I asked myself, what do I really want? Like if I could have the perfect schedule, the perfect coaching, what would it look like? And I was able to identify I would teach only in group coaching sessions in the FBL, the small bite, the BDC, and my corporate work. I would have little to no one-to-one work, and I would have tons of white space. I would be doing a weekly webinar. So my time on Zoom would be pretty minimal. What's crazy about that vision that I had probably 3+ years ago, it's like, it's here, it's happening. Because when I rebuilt, I had temptation to say yes that people wanted to work with me and do things that I could have said yes to out of desperation and scarcity. But if I want to get out of scarcity, I need to force myself to understand that I am here for the long game. And so when I was thinking I didn't have enough clients, or for me, it was like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? I was like, oh, the reframe for me is I get to build my business exactly as I want now. For you, if it's I don't have enough clients, then I want you to find the reframe. And maybe that's like, I have space for the right clients to come in. Or money is tight. It's like, I have everything I need right now. Or no one's buying. Maybe it's like the right people haven't found you yet, which feels so true. Because then it shows me like the work is exposure for you and visibility. And so this became so critical and led me to step number 2. And so what this does is it helps that fear-based decision-making and that fear you're experiencing in the amygdala, say that 3 times fast, to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions and sees possibility. So what we've done is we've quieted that fight, flight, or freeze. And now what we can do is actually identify what things do I need to do in my business to actually move the needle, which goes to step number 2. So when scarcity hits hard, the fastest way out, in my opinion now, is like radical service. This is the tool that gets you into immediate action and just brings you joy of service, and you create results. And so what I had to do was just tell myself, I'm going to serve one person a day. And by serve, I didn't mean get paid. So that meant I'm going to serve by creating content. I'm going to serve by sending a DM to somebody that I was thinking about or a past client. I was going to serve at the grocery store when I saw somebody needing support. What I had to do actually was start to shift the energy into like my role on this earth is to take care of humans. And I actually don't have to get paid to do that. I realized because I was experiencing such deep scarcity that my attachment to helping people was deeply tied to money. And I was measuring my success by that. And I had to undo that. I had to detach, be completely detached from that outcome. That's not easy, just as an FYI. And so I had to coach. I had to serve when the dollars and the clients weren't coming in the degree that I thought. So I was like hosting more workshops. This is the year that I actually went to like one workshop every month, because that's what I knew how to do. And that brought value to people, and value isn't scarce. Value is abundant. And when you're in service, you're in your power. When you're in need, you're in lack. And so you can call this even like your service sprint, but you could just ask yourself, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and I'm going to serve. You could do that online by replying to threads or comments or going into Facebook groups. It's just helping people and not meaning or making it mean that those people are your clients or have to become your clients. I cannot tell you how critical this practice was for me to get out of those feelings of scarcity. And I think, honestly, my faith was really critical in this too, because I was like, okay, my ultimate role on this earth is to just take care of people. And that felt so real and so true for me. All right, tool number 3. I want to cue this up is first thing, understanding like our unconscious mind, our brain is wired for negative bias. So we are naturally have an affinity for the lack. And we notice what's missing more than what's present. And you have to know this about yourself, and you have to constantly work against this. And so this tool, I think, rewrites that. And then you have to stay on top of this pattern over and over. And I'm going to call it reading the receipts. And I heard that from somewhere recently, and I freaking love it. It's like, read the receipts of today in your life. What is evidence of like abundance in your life and evidence of things that you're doing really well? That receipt could be 2 more email list opt-ins. That could be somebody that sent you a DM on Instagram. That can be the neighbor that said, I'm so grateful. That could be your children like cuddling up next to you and saying, thank you, Mom. And so you want to get in the habit of, maybe before you go to sleep, or you can even buddy this up with the morning or put it in your notes app. But I want you to record daily your receipts. What are 2 to 5 receipts that you could potentially look at in the form of, could be opportunities, connections, compliments, insights, money even, and just assess. Because the more you open yourself to this, the more you start to see it. The more no circumstance actually in your life has to change. More clients or more money for you to experience joy and abundance, which seems, again, counterintuitive. But that's a choice. It's a shift in perspective and energy, and you get to make that. Like after 30 days of doing this thing, like what if you had 2 pieces a day and you had 60 receipts of like all the goodness flowing into your life? This is like just so powerful for me, all of these things. And again, these are not tools that stop. You just use them for 5 seconds and they go away. These, some of these patterns of scarcity for you are deeply ingrained. And so it's going to take time and lots of reps upon reps. So I don't want you to take this podcast out of context and be like, okay, I did it, but I still feel scarce. It's like, no. And some of you are going to take a little longer to learn than others, and that's okay. Put this on repeat. So as we pull it all together, 3 tools that work, I think, synergistically: that morning kind of anchoring practice, your service sprint, and read the receipts are the 3 things that we talked about. And so I'm challenging you as you listen. You don't have to do all of these. Just choose one that you feel like spoke to you, and then go put in the consistent reps. Could I issue you a challenge? Like, go document your journey and go do this for the next 30 days. You're listening to this in June. Imagine where you'll be in July, 30 days later, and just compare how you feel right now. Jot down those feelings and just look at it. Remember that scarcity is not about your actual circumstance. It's about your focus and energy. You can totally feel abundant and grateful if you had $200 in the bank account versus $20,000. It's about perspective and practice. And this is like such life changing. I mean, I'm talking about it for business, but I think everybody needs to hear this particular episode. So my question for you is, where will you start tomorrow or today as you listen to this? And if you want accountability around this is the work we do in the Best Damn Coach. I know you can go Google all the strategy of how to grow your business, but where we get stuck is the internal stuff. It's the lack of action. It's the paralysis. It's the perfection trap. And I've given you great examples of the women inside the community that are vulnerable and share, and then how we shift them out of it. And if you're interested in talking about the BDC, the Best Damn Coach, our signature community, you want to learn more, you have questions, I would love to chat with you. You can head on over to my calendar link, amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT. And even if you're like, I'm not somebody that likes group programs, it's hard for me to share. Every girl in the group has said that until they come into the group and they say, why didn't I do this sooner? So your scarcity truly is not serving anyone, not you, not your family, not the clients that don't even know you exist. So I hope this episode really serves you to kind of flip that script. If you found this episode useful, again, please share it on your stories, take a screenshot, share it with a friend that you think would need it. Send me a DM. Tell me, oh my gosh, Amanda, this landed for me. I'm over hanging out on my Instagram at a walk my way. So I cannot wait to be with you on the next episode. And until then, go coach 'em up.